Self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. What is self-compassion and what is it not? What are the benefits of self-compassion and how can we harness the power of self-compassion in our self-care journey? Let's explore these in this video. Hi, this is Nirmala Shekhar, and we are currently looking at our spiritual needs in a map of self-care. Compassion is being aware of someone's pain and acknowledging that they are in pain. Compassion is not, oh, you are in pain. Can I come and fix it? Or, oh, you are in pain. Why don't you fix yourself? Or, oh, you are in pain. How could you bring yourself into this situation? Instead, compassion is, I see you are in pain. And it is expressing that in a very, very calm, detached, non-judgmental way. And just giving that person the space to feel their own pain without feeling the need to change it. And this aspect of compassion is very powerful because it helps us to go within for our own inner strength. And when we take this compassion and use it for ourselves, it becomes self-compassion. And in this case, we become our own inner parent or inner sibling or inner best friend who is able to become aware of our pain and then acknowledge that we are in pain without having this mad, frenzied desire to move ourselves out of the pain. There is no resistance for that pain. It's just an acknowledgement that we are in pain. If you look at the map of self-care, you will notice that at the core of this map is self-love and self-acceptance. And those two together are nothing but self-compassion. It is only on top of this that we have the next layer, which is that of self-awareness. If we had self-awareness before self-love or acceptance, then that can be sometimes problematic because when we become aware of our own pain without the support of our compassion, then that awareness can be painful and we may start resisting our own pain or get into this mad desire to release our pain, remove our pain, do whatever it is, suppress the pain, deny the pain. So then it becomes counterproductive to the self-care process. So we start with self-love or acceptance, which is compassion, and then move on to self-awareness. So how does self-compassion help us? And here I want to share a book, Self-Compassion by Kristin Neff. She has written many books on self-compassion and been doing a lot of research on this topic. You will find this book amazing. In this book, the author shares this equation: suffering is equal to pain times resistance. And I liked this equation. It was taught to her by a Buddhist monk. And I love this equation because of two things. One, it makes the distinction between pain and suffering. Suffering is within our control because we can manage resistance. And by working on the resistance, our concept or perception of our pain, which is what suffering is, can be changed, either increased or decreased. An example, say I have broken my ankle and I'm in pain, a lot of pain, and I'm by myself and I'm just focusing on the pain. I wanted to do a lot of things over the next few days and weeks, and now I'm stuck at home with this pain. And this concept, this conversation is going on in my brain for a long period of time, and my pain is rapidly increasing. At that time, a friend drops in with some goodies, and after I share all my incident with her, she starts talking about other things, interesting things, and we are having this fantastic conversation. And during that conversation, my pain disappears. And when she leaves, the pain comes back again. Is it really that the pain has disappeared? Or is it that my perception of the pain has disappeared? And this is how our brain tricks us. Our brain, when I was having the conversation with a friend, has released this neurotransmitter oxytocin, which is a feel good hormone, and that reduces our perception of the pain. And when I'm alone and thinking about that pain a lot and telling myself, I wish I didn't have this because I have other things to do, what I'm doing is I'm activating the amygdala in the brain, and that increases my sense of not being safe, my sense of being in a problem situation, and it increases my perception of the pain. And what compassion does, especially self compassion does, is it is able to work on that resistance. By working on that resistance, it's able to help us increase or decrease our perception of pain. When we acknowledge our pain without this need to change it, deny it, suppress it, or compare it with some expectation. I wanted to do this, but I'm not able to do this because of the pain. That's a comparison. That's a comparison between what is now and what is an expectation. And that increases my resistance and it increases my perception of the pain, my suffering. And compassion, what it does is by giving this neutral space, I see you are in pain. And that's it. So there's just pain, very little resistance. So the perception of the pain as compared to the resistance also reduces. Our suffering also reduces. I have been working with a lot of people, and many of them feel good after a few sessions and they really start shifting and feeling good. And occasionally, they may slide back and feel very anxious or in a panic state. And at that time, and this could be true for an emotional issue, or it could be true for a physical challenge as well. They are doing really well and then they slide back. And at that time, the conversation that takes place in our head decides how we feel. And if we keep telling ourselves, I have put in so much work, I was doing well, why am I going back? That is one of criticism. That is not one of self compassion. And when we go into that space of lack of self compassion, it makes our pain much more apparent. And it robs our body of the resources that it could otherwise use to shift us out of that mode. By using compassion, we are not going into this sympathetic nervous system mode. We are not giving in to criticism. We are not giving into this comparison. I wanted to be there. How come I'm here right now? By preventing all of that, just holding us in compassion. I see you are in pain. I understand you are in pain. And that's it. By giving this self compassion to ourselves, our body, our mind, our internal resources, all of those become available for shifting us out of this situation. So self compassion is not about being okay, whatever it is, or, not doing our best. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Self compassion actually allows us to put in our 100% to shift out of wherever we are. Start with self compassion with no agenda, no timetable, And the body and the mind will slowly realize it's not being criticized, it's not being condemned or judged, and it will start shifting itself out with new ideas, new ways of helping you come out of the hole. Self compassion is just observing and being aware of our own pain. And that can be very easy to practice, or so one would think. But when we are stuck in that moment and we are associating with that pain and we become one with that pain, that practice of self compassion becomes difficult. And in this context, I would like to share a framework that I recently learned about, which is Marshall Rosenberg's framework, which he has presented in his nonviolent communication theory. And the framework goes like this: we ask ourselves four different questions. What am I observing right now? What am I feeling right now? What do I need right now? Is there a request that I need to make of myself or someone else? Four different questions. And the beauty of these questions is it is able to make a difference between I and something else. So there is I and what I'm observing. And then there is I, what am I feeling? There is I, and what do I need right now? And there is I, and this action of making a request, whether that request is from someone else or from myself. And by splitting it in this way, the way I see it, it is able to create a gap between my pain and myself. And that gap which in which awareness exists, and all these four questions are one of creating awareness and then prompting us for action. This awareness allows us to understand that I am not my pain. I am different from my pain. And by being different from my pain, I have a choice of practicing self compassion. Let me know what you think of this framework. And if you have any other strategies for practicing self compassion, I would love to hear all your different strategies. Thank you for joining me. This is Nirmala Shekhar signing off. Bye bye. Namaste. Do subscribe and hit the bell button for more weekly content on self care. And if you want even more actionable content on self care, do join me in the Facebook group for weekly lives, discussions, and more tips.